Hello, everybody. If you could just bear with me because essentially this presentation was going to be done by somebody else, but they got COVID, so I've been thrown in at the last minute. So any Q&As at the end, if I don't answer it, I'll do my best. So firstly, the topic is going to be boosting e-commerce with data labeling. And I'm Ranjay Ghai, who's the regional director for this UK region. So we notice that the main problems that e-com businesses face, as on the screen, is customer search on websites. People can't find the right ones. Customers look at products in the catalog but see either irrelevant items or duplicates, or companies can't keep up with all the incoming support requests. A lot of resources spent on moderation of product listings and customer reviews. How do we deal with this? Next. So we at Toloka, we use both human insights and machine learning. So for a lot of sort of major e-com companies that have marketplaces and a certain number of SKUs, this solution can be very beneficial to them. This sort of gives you an idea of how the pipeline looks like. So the clients will come up to us with a certain task, then we'll review it and do various micro tasks. The labeling happens twofold: humans, which we usually use either crowdsourcing or experts, depending on what the expertise is required, and then ML models. We focus on many different languages, so for companies that are looking to scale up in different regions and need various resources, that's something that we can assist with, and hopefully you'll get the results that you're looking for. These are our success stories. Some companies you will know, some are not UK based, but these are some of the biggest e-com marketplaces in the world at the moment. So the top areas that we actually can help with data labeling are, as you can see on the screen. You're looking at search recommendations, product catalog, content moderation, customer support, returns processing, and something which is quite new and a topic that is quite close to my heart is using generation AI or LLM applications. So let's focus on search and recommendations. So essentially, why is search important for e-commerce? Now we do know that 20 to 50% of revenue or purchases made from search. But one thing that a lot of e-coms aren't aware of, that once you actually have certain search relevance in places, you have 80% higher probably conversion than a site that uses average search. We've done various trials and errors and facts to understand that 99% of users do return to a website where they have a great customer experience due to good research. Unfortunately, 300 billion euros actually lost in the US retailers due to actually having bad search. And so this is one common area that companies face when they do search. If you look on the right-hand side, somebody types in red wine, and you get cushions and towels, which aren't too bad. So 80% of people come to a site knowing what to buy, but 60% of those 82% find irrelevant search results due to the most frustrating aspects, which are below, which is sorting of products, wrong suggestions, category prediction, typo detection, which could be typo in what you type, but more importantly, what's actually within the website itself, and empty results with no suggestions. So what is search relevance? So what we actually do at Toloka is that we usually put 5 attributes. So we have sort of 1 out of 5 classes. So in terms of when we are sent information or data, we try and label it exactly as you can see on the screen. So you'll see that it says, does this item match this search? Exact match, substitute, irrelevant, complementary, and unjudgeable. Here, coffee bean grinder, so it would be up to whoever is actually labeling to then make a decision on what is correct. So how can you solve these problems? We have threefold here, but there's a lot of different things you can do. First thing would be that we would do an audit search quality to actually understand how successful is your search. We'd probably put in certain metrics within the data to understand what people are finding and what are the sort of, not mistakes, but how the site is failing. Then we also improve search by adding relevant signals, so that would be essentially data labeling to the search engine. And then as a post-verification, we evaluate the search performance, which we do in conjunction with you to do regular quality checks to make sure that the results are matching and giving the success that you need. So these are some of our success stories. So we have a large online marketplace that for NDA purposes we cannot name, but they received, well, essentially since they've been using various data labeling through the various mediums I mentioned before, they've had a 4 to 5% increase in GMV growth. AliExpress is actually 1.3%, but that's also because the nature of their enterprise, they have a lot of marketplaces, and certain ones, the results work very well for them, and others, because they're quite small, they don't have enough SKUs. And then a current client that we have at the moment is one of Turkey's biggest marketplaces, Hepsi Barada, and they are hoping for, in the first year, 8% GMV growth from search alone. So another area where we can help is product catalog. So you see here that somebody's typed in woman boots, and there's been a wrong category attribution. So the solution would be, for us to label on the right-hand side, we would sort of say, what item does the category belong to? As you can see, definitely not boots, more like sneakers. The problem also of having multiple product listings for one product, so a problem could be that you type in a product here, green Apple AirPods Max, and then you see duplicates on the product cards. Now basically by having duplicates, it sort of it affects the search relevance, and a solution then could be that once we get the data from you, would be making sure that our Tolokas, as they're called, would identify the item identically, and then we would send it back to you where you would then remove the duplicate from the product card. Another area, not so much for e-com, but it can be beneficial, is moderation. Basically product cards and reviews. So if you get certain reviews on Google or whichever sites the marketplaces are on, it's making sure that information is moderated, and a lot of companies do have internal moderators, but if you get a lot of high volumes, and with a lot of the big e-coms that we work with, it can actually be expensive to have your internal moderators, and their expertise could probably be used elsewhere. So a solution would be automated and manual moderation using both ML models and human in the loop, which would be the data labeling. An example of this is AliExpress, where we actually moderate more than 100,000 items per day. It's actually reduced their moderation costs by 50%, and FD saved on moderation. I don't really know what that is, but it's 90. So, customer support is another key area. Now, support requires classification. Problem is that sometimes one support agent has to handle more than minimum 93 chats daily, and because they don't get the service that they want, or the support isn't what they were looking for, 61% of customers leave after one negative support experience. So, what is the solution? Automated customers request classification from different sources. So we, as you can see on the right side, this is what we would do, this is what our Tolokas would see. I don't receive any confirmation codes, I can't get into my account. What would be the best feedback to get for you to implement that back into your system? Processing order returns is another key area. Processing order returns made easier with data labeling. The problem essentially is, as you can see on the right-hand side, 30% of all products purchased online are returned, but 92% of consumers will not buy if the process isn't easy. So the solution is labeling, verification of return photos, which on the right-hand side you can see that you get different images, and then there'll be a question asked, did the color match? Yes, no, cannot be determined. Finally, generation AI applications. So a lot of the big e-com companies are now implementing generation AI or LLMs applications into their system. Essentially, I know this is a very new area, but from the feedback and the research that we've done, the generation AI market is going to be probably about 2 to 4 trillion in 2030. Essentially, a lot of this will not always be in e-com, but we are aware that 40% of saved working hours, you'll say, yeah, with generation AI applications in different facets, will essentially save your organization about 40% of working hours. More importantly, the productivity gain from retail e-commerce for the big e-coms is assigned to be about 400 to 600 billion USD. This is essentially the format for generation AI solutions for e-com. You'll have AI shopping assistants, product descriptions, review summarizations, generation of product images, and internal knowledge base. We have an example of how generative AI could be used by some of the big e-coms, which I'm happy to discuss in person at a later date, and that is it. So, does anybody, hopefully not, have any Q&As? Please all keep your hands down at the same time, it's good. No. Okay, great. Thank you very much, everybody. I've saved you 4 minutes of your precious time. And I wish you all a great rest of the day.